Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the Republic of Fiji.
Blessing grant, O God of nations, on the Isles of Fiji, as we stand united under noble banner blue, as we honor and defend the cause of freedom ever. Onward march together, God bless Fiji. For Fiji, ever Fiji, let our voices ring with pride. For Fiji, ever Fiji, her name hails far and wide, our land of freedom, hope and glory, to endure whatever befalls. May God bless Fiji forevermore.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, before we officially commence, it's both fitting and essential that we pause to acknowledge those who make this gathering possible and seek divine guidance for our important work ahead. First and foremost, I wish to acknowledge and pay our deepest respects to the spiritual and religious leaders who provide the moral foundation upon which we build our communities and our nation. We also humbly acknowledge the traditional leaders and landowners, those who have passed before us, those who stand with us today, and those generations yet to come. It is through their wisdom, their guardianship of our lands, and their generous spirit that we are granted this sacred time and space together. Our chief guest, the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, ILO Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific, Her Excellency Kari Nakamura Osaka, United Nations Resident Coordinator, His Excellency, Employers Representative, Work Representative, Honorable Ministers, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellencies, industry leaders, heads of institutions, executives, distinguished delegates, and our traditional presenters. Warm Pacific greetings. Before our traditional presentation, ladies and gentlemen, we begin our gathering with a blessing, and I invite the Reverend Professor Upolu Lumavaai, to lead us in fellowship.
Let us pray. We don't have ocean. We are ocean. We don't have land. We are land. We don't have relationship. We are relationship. Watery to our very core. Earthy to our very being. The moana, symbolic of spirit. The vanua, symbolic of connectedness. Dynamic, connected, alive. Constantly seeking our hand of compassion in the age of development. Everything groans for restoration. Yet your Spirit, God, comes to rouse the people, births new voices, sparks movements of resistance, creates currents of contradictions to exploitation, disrupts our complacency. Your Spirit inspires a new consciousness. Your Spirit makes us compassionate people for the one groaning, with a wild and unruly practice of hope. Lord God, reconnect us to each other as we discern together this week your will for our people, as we celebrate also the landmark of 50 years of existence. Show us a new alaimoana, a new pathway, guided by the stars of hope that guided our forebears. Create in us a new consciousness of care and connectedness guided by your love. Reconnect us to our watery home, our fluid identity, our sense of belonging. In the name of God who liberates us from the gods of money. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with our blessing, we take a moment to also remember many delegates, representatives who have passed since our last meeting. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now hand the program over to our traditional presenters.
Minister. Sawa mo muli na banwa. Kundel ni mo na korwarwa. Dramatari ginawa mo ro ko tinabat. Ili naroro ni kuwa. Ili naroro sa tumo na ratu na mo na dali mimuli. Naroro ni kuwa. Endonya ni mundia ni na ni muli utakinya tu na bonovici. Ili nabatu ni banu ang salami la berige mo mata. Nabatu ni banu sa nabatu ni banu na ni mitokani. Ini na tete mata ni tu, para ni mata ni tu na lang pasifika.
Na boleh.
Kalau bitamo ni mura. Inabukunin natin nila mula may kowa, matakwa. Nabukunin raki wisau. Kailan mo namin nadadaka. Bebito kanta kinga maroroy. Nabi kwado la kenda na mula na kalo. Belay tokoni. Nadadaka sabi na. Ili anabesi na waitamu ni banua torole sake mui mata karawariki eliuli ni mata nitu satay mata karawariki na banua ina korwarua na mata riki na momo na roti na bat ni mura na sina ni kuwa mula mengalowi ina buku ni vita kwa sama takwa mingala lamani kena banua watu ni banua sambo madala muni ko tame verele na watule na mata na momole betwina
Na boleh.
dele bolo nanji dele ni bolo bichi na sana chini aba marroi gano na le mutu to kai nanji sala na watu rigi ni bolo wa ina buku ni lata ka ina buku ni vita kwa tana singa kwa mugelo mane na watu na na kai tutuku molo mane ko tanga na besta ni mo na torro role ni teliu ni mata ni tu mungkin Romanya bercakap dengan tubuh-tubuh yang mana sini kuah. Saat mereka tubuh-tubuh kembali ke, dia pun rasa kan Romo. Yang mau materi kita lihat itu materi itu habis sini mau mana barang minister, yang mau jalan di mana lagi. Ila batu materi kita rakyat tu batu ila mau tahu.
Itu punya kemenangan baturangan. Engkona matarawa. Asyik cuma uni masih lawar sampai dia nonton benua. Itu level nomor itu baturangan pinani. Mermain bosi. Berita lebih maju jadi masalah era ini lebih masalah lebih macam tu ini. Nak kerana merama, ini winteran boy na was winteran binum pasir lawat berurah. Wajib boleh na Pasifik. Nabukin Minister itu indra ini besok sama di Tamakala. Sampai waktu orang PJ nama itu lagi. Naulunya na kita presiden di Nondonuang. Nabukin dia waktu orang yang Messi, orang barat tidak awal tu orang ibu pun malu. Yang untuk bermain batu, nomor baru. Yang untuk waras dan batu. Mana bintang nomor siapa? Sampai batu orang tak, yang bintang kerana batu orang apa unwa sampai lagi di sini lain. Sawaroro tak ini juga menemarau di bawah ini. Saya lewat dengan saya saran kamu jangan lebih baklum saja. Lele wale a sare. Lele wa a ni to lo. Na ba ti tu mai na no. Lo nga ke na le ne udere ko programa dove non lo lama. Keynote. Rawa na to no bitan mo turangan marama to mai tumbo. Rono na to vi usai. Divi mata a era non review. Rawa na ita min maten tu, divi o me utai. Divi wa to rai. Tu wa te di wa divi no na de jo lo vi kino de vi wa ta ka to mana. Indena.
Luwati oto na wa ni batu ni banua. Ena lina ni matentu. Turana presidendi. Matentu obiti. Noto banua. Ilana mabesi. Mani turana ratu ida awe so ule ni banua to robe. Nalo mani noto banua namor barua. Mani turana ratu. Nali matenga ni matentu ni bendurabi. Turana ini ni bosiado. Sama ini komite ona romo ni yau ni benua. Ane siu ko ni benua sama i romo oto na ane tabo sa ina matalin ua. Salve ti oto na romo. Ina matalin ua ba lo mula misol ti omi ba lo tatai. Ano mata ti ita bisa mengra na lo mani bitene sina satu. Au tani ti ame da, au tani da. Na boleh na nga, ram na tum na ita bisa tu mata da bisa mata amana. Hey, dina. No. Na wewe.
Gimana kotornya bona babomo?
Sira to mamai na mani no to dua. Dalam besi menturang lagi au iso boleh buku di betul. Dalam mani nomor dua ini dua. Oni turang lagi di tempat. Ada mata itu. Turang apa presiden. Turang ada ini pasal ada amani. Turang apa presiden mani betul. Saya isu cuma ada boleh banyak. Jadi kalau tu kalau mani berdua. Ini tahu mani berdua dan buruh itu ini. Dalam kita nak atu mani ISO itu berani. Sambil lebih tidak nak pun tadi. Kalau sebab kita cuma nak orang sekali nak kuliah saya balik ke sekolah. Bisa mai dulu cuma orang mani berdua. Dulu cuma orang mani cuma mata lebih di bawah, orang kita bisa tu nak berani. Nak baru sambil lebih. Ada mata lebih di bawah. Bisa tu lama ya, mani buat. Ibu tadi juga nama tadi buat, atau nama ni buat ni, nama ni buat, ambil sesuatu. Ya, saya sudah pernah, alih sudah punya pernah naik siu-siu. Siu sama kalau kau temenan, kemudian di berdua ILO lah Messi, kematan nama mana tidak tahu. Nah, kita di berdua, negara berdua, kematan nama mana rat tidak tahu. Mata lah kau temenan, kita mata itu mau mana presiden di. Mata lah mana kau tengah mana kita mata ni. Posiado satu warna mana Prime Minister. Kemudian warna sahabat yang mata warna bimbulu, na tete mata ni bilu taki, ni wasaba sibika ina puni soko ni tamata kata kasako warna sini bina dibuat. Mata warna mata itu resako warna sini bina dibuat. Sampai mata ni kota ngayu ni bina batu liu, mata namu mana bina. Kalau isu kota nali murid siapa pun nama mana di rumah ini tunan toka, ina lagi cina babi ni bina. Kalau yang masuk tu nak berdua, yang masuk tu nak mata tak kau boleh singgah bina di buah. Yang maru ici mun tu nak kalau dari mobil itu tak kena mata itu berdua ici. Kalau yang masuk mun itu kan berdua, kada na mata tak kalau mereka boleh singgah bina di buah. Ini nak sulah betul mun nak kalau nak buku pada kila cina lu tua. Nak kaya mun nak gitu, nak kaya lu gitu nak mata itu. Nabi singa satu tu tempat. Satu pernah limuru, kemudian kau dah siap dan donu namu lina sama-sama. Kalau bila aku tu nama mana Prime Minister, kalau bila aku tu nama tim itu biji, dolar na bita apa dan barang betul, kalau mandi singa ni kuat. Kerana dia ambil barang satu tu tempat, tak kalau betul coba mana? Kemudian kau dah siap tapi mana dulu mati itu salah miso. Kalau ibu mana tak sakit, benda lima ni mau nak kaya baru rokok. Tahu dia usaha saya itu kaya kamu. Ore ewa. Atakani. Kaya bagi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to extend our sincere thanks to the Minister of Legal Affairs for coordinating in this beautiful traditional ceremony that's been accorded today for the opening of the inaugural conference. We give them a big round of applause and we will excuse them from the front. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we'll now have the garlanding ceremony, and I invite the ladies responsible to please come forward to do the honors. Please, let's give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure, I now invite to deliver the welcome remarks and to provide the conference overview, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations, Mr. Chone Martino Nemani. Let's make him feel welcome, please.
Nisambula Vinaka. A warm welcome to you all this morning. And before I continue with my speech, welcome speech, I'd like to acknowledge our traditional landowners of where we are hosting this conference. With the Nadi. I am Martino Nemani, as your MC have briefly introduced, the Permanent Secretary for Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations. And it is my honor to welcome you to Fiji on behalf of the Fiji government, the Ministry of Employment, and in partnership with the International Labour Organization. I'm deeply honored to welcome our chief guest, the Prime Minister and Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, whose leadership has been instrumental in making the historic conference a reality. Prime Minister, your presence demonstrates Fiji's commitment to Pacific employment cooperation and regional leadership. Let me also acknowledge our distinguished participants who make this gathering as so significant. We welcome our Pacific ministers, government officials, ministers from our government of Fiji, including our own very minister, Mr. Agni Devshirin, ministers from across the region and senior officials who are present to demonstrate the priority our nations place on employment cooperation. We are honored to have you here as Pacific Permanent Secretaries, or Fiji Permanent Secretaries, and senior officials. We are honored to also have Ms. Kaori Nakamura Osaka. You're welcome. Bulavinak. Mr. Martin Vandera, the Director for ILO in the Pacific, and other regional leaders who are here. We especially welcome our tripartite partners to embody the collaborative spirit essential for sustainable employment solutions. From the worker side, we have representatives from PIC2, the Pacific Islands Countries Trade Union Congress, Confederation, FTUC, the Fiji Teachers Congress, and union representatives from across the region. From the employer side, we welcome PIPSO, the Pacific Islands Private Sector Organization, FSEF, Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation, and business leaders from the Pacific Islands. Together with the government representatives, you demonstrate the tripartite approach that has been the foundation of employment progress in our region for 50 years. To our UN resident coordinator, diplomatic corps, development partners, academic experts, civil society representatives, thank you for being part of this Pacific-led initiative. To all participants who have traveled from across the Blue Pacific and beyond, your presence here today demonstrates a shared commitment to finding solutions together. You have made significant commitments to be here today. Some of you have traveled thousands of miles, adjust busy schedules, and left important work at home. We don't take this lightly, and we are grateful to your dedication to the shared endeavor. I must share with you that the conference represents something deeply important to me personally. Over the years, in my work across the Pacific region, I have witnessed firsthand how employment challenges, climate impacts, security concerns, and labor mobility are reshaping the lives of our people. I became convinced that we needed a forum where we could address these interconnectedness realities together as a Pacific family, rather than struggling with them in isolation. The conviction grew stronger with each regional meeting I attended, each policy challenge we faced in Fiji, each conversation with my counterparts across the Pacific. The vision for the conference emerged from that recognition. That's the challenge we face. Are too many interconnected, too urgent, too important, and any one nation to address alone. Today marks a historic milestone, our first ever Pacific Employment Conference of the scope and ambition. With many Pacific countries, territories represented, we also celebrate this part of ILO's 50th anniversary in the Pacific, a partnership that goes and grows stronger with each passing decade. This conference also represents Fiji's renewed leadership in the Pacific Employment Cooperation and is part of a broader reset of employment policies and direction. Since this coalition government came into power, we have reformed restrictive labor laws to restore workers' freedoms of associations, rights and compliance with ILO conventions, and resolve the 33-year Wailoaloa gold mine strike, the world's longest running industrial dispute. These actions demonstrate inaugural commitment to continue tripartite dialogue and social justice. Now, by convening this inaugural Pacific Employment Conference, we are extending this reset beyond our borders, working with our Pacific family to establish a new direction for regional employment cooperation built on international standards and tripartite principles. Now, bear with me, why these four topics together? You might wonder why we've brought together employment, climate change, security, and labor mobility in one conference. Let me offer you a simple but powerful example that shows why these cannot be separated. When Cyclone Winston devastated Fiji in 2016, it didn't just destroy buildings and crops. Within days, thousands of tourism workers lost their jobs and resorts closed for repairs. Some of these workers moved to other regions seeking employment, affecting labor markets in different areas. Families also lost income, become more vulnerable, while communities struggle with the social tensions that unemployment brings. But the story didn't end there. As Fiji rebuilt, we needed workers with new skills, climate resilient construction techniques, renewable energy installation, disaster risk management. Regional partners offered temporary employment opportunities for displaced workers. The recovery created new industries and new forms of regional cooperation. This is the reality for the Pacific families. When climate change strikes, it ripples through the employment, which creates mobility pressures, which affects community security, which demands new norms and forms of regional cooperation. These ain't separate policy areas that we can address in isolation. They are interconnected realities that require integrated responses. That's why we're here together, and that's why the conference is designed to address the connections, not just the individual challenges. The conference vision, this is bringing a new chapter to the Pacific cooperation, one where we address interconnected challenges through coordinated responses, where decent work becomes the foundation of regional resilience, and where Pacific leaders drives global innovation and employment policy. With those few words, honorable ministers, distinguished guests, diplomatic corps, senior government officials from the region, we welcome you to Fiji. Nakavakalevu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nemani, for those warm words of welcome. Can we please give him a big round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, it is now with much and deep respect that I call upon the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji to deliver his keynote address and to officially open the conference. Please put your hands together for the Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka.
Good morning. Good morning. That's better. The Minister for Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations, Honorable Agnideo Singh, fellow Cabinet Ministers, the ILO Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific, and your staff. Abunua baturang Nadi, Legislature na momole Nadi. Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation and representatives, Fiji Trade Unions Congress and representatives. I like these ILO organized meetings. It's when my political rivals come in and sit down and listen to me. Senior government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to you all. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land we stand or sit in today, in the Wailoaloa, Wanamomona Nadi. We pay our respects to their chiefs, past and present, as well as to emerging leaders and members of the Nadi, some of whom may be present here this morning. Some were present at the ceremonies of welcome, and we acknowledge their role in caring for the Vanua. It's a great honor to welcome you to Fiji for the inaugural Pacific Regional Tripartite Conference. We gather today in the spirit of Vuwale, as one Pacific family, united by common challenges and inspired by the opportunities that are before us. This conference marks a milestone in our region's journey towards employment, security, and shared prosperity. We gather not only to chart a new course, but also to honor 50 years of enduring partnership between the Pacific and the International Labour Organization, ILO. For over 5 decades, the ILO has stood by us, and our relationship has been grounded in the principle of tripartism, the equal partnership of governments, employers, and workers, and remains the cornerstone of resilient and inclusive development. Today, that spirit is alive in this room. And I thank you all and I congratulate you all. We see ministers, policymakers, employers, workers, and our ILO partners together to forge a new integrated approach to employment, decent work, climate resilience, human security, and labor mobility. We meet at a pivotal moment because we understand a fundamental truth. Employment, security, labor mobility, and climate change are deeply interconnected forces that are reshaping the future of the Blue Pacific. The ILO warns that the heat stress alone could cost 3.8% of working hours, equal to 136 million jobs. In the Pacific, climate change is displacing livelihoods, villages, and threatening jobs, which in turn undermines social stability and all the other bad things it brings on. This isn't just economic loss. It is potential displacement on a historic scale. Labor mobility then brings both an opportunity and a challenge. Our workers move across the region and the world. They send home vital remittances that fuel local development. But the loss of skilled labor, the brain drain, leaves our own systems more vulnerable just when they need strengthening. Meanwhile, evolving security challenges are transforming the very nature of work. Our workers will soon need skills in climate engineering, ocean governance, peace building, and digital security. The jobs of tomorrow demand bold investments today. These connections are not theoretical. They are the lived reality of Pacific families. We are custodians of nearly 20% of the world's ocean. This ocean connects us, it feeds us, and holds our economic future. Yet today, the same waters that carried our ancestors now rise with alarming urgency, calling for action that links employment creation with climate resilience. Let this be the moment that we commit to joined-up leadership, leadership that sees beyond the silos and puts people at the center of every policy decision. Before we look ahead, we must honor the journey that brought us here. Over the past 50 years, ILO's partnership has helped transform the Pacific labor landscape. From skills development programs and legal reforms to social protection and workplace safety, the ILO has helped strengthen our institutions and empowered tripartite collaborations among our governments, employers, and workers to shape their own future. This foundation gives us the confidence to face today's challenges from climate change, digital disruptions, and labor mobility, not in isolation, but through collective and coordinated actions. The launch of the Regional Permanent Secretary PS Employment Talanoa Forum and its technical working group builds on this legacy, applying proven ILO principles to deliver inclusive and people-centered solutions. We must also confront the reality of our changing strategic environment. As outlined in our foreign policy white paper, the liberal international order that once served us is giving way to a more complex and uncertain global landscape. Just on a side note, I was in India last week. And a day after I left, the Indian Prime Minister went to see President Xi. I don't know what he took from me to President Xi, but they're talking. Even the Pacific is inspiring big people to talk. Strategic competition among major powers is increasingly evident in our region. The rules-based order faces growing pressure, but we are not passive observers of our own future. The Pacific Way, rooted in consensus, dialogue, and peaceful resolution, offers a powerful alternative to global division. Through initiatives like our Ocean of Peace concept, I spoke a long few minutes with Prime Minister Modi last week on this. I hope he's talking to President Xi Jinping on the same. Through our Ocean of Peace concept, we show that small island states can lead and that regional solidarity can rise above geopolitical rivalry. As I stated at the United Nations General Assembly in 2023, collective, and I quote, collective efforts are needed to address challenges, not only as sovereign nations, but as regions and as one humanity, end of quote. When our people have decent work, when our communities are resilient, when our youth see a future worth staying for, we lay the foundation for regional stability and global peace. Fiji's contribution to regional peace and security is grounded in our Ocean of Peace concept, a vision of the Pacific as a region of stability, a region of mutual respect and non-coercion. But peace cannot thrive on an empty stomach or broken dreams. The Ocean of Peace must be anchored in decent work for all Pacific peoples. That means employment security as a national security. Stable, dignified jobs are the bedrock of stable societies where work is scarce, instability grows. Climate-resilient livelihoods. Peace cannot rest on economic models that climate change will erode. Our future lies in a blue-green economy that works with nature, not against it. Regional labor mobility that strengthens all. Labor mobility must uplift our region collectively, not deplete the nations that can least afford to lose talent. Innovation rooted in Pacific values. Technology must serve our people and must amplify our culture, not replace them. Progress must honor tradition while opening new doors. This is why Fiji has made employment cooperation a pillar of our foreign policy, because we know a prosperous Pacific is a peaceful Pacific, and a peaceful Pacific strengthens global peace. The vision I share today is not new. It builds directly on the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, our shared regional blueprint. That strategy outlines 7 interconnected themes, each vital to our work here: political leadership and regionalism. This conference and the launch of the Regional Secretary Employment Talanoa Forum embody our commitment to sustained regional cooperation. People-centered development. No Pacific person must be left behind. Women, youth, persons with disabilities, and indigenous peoples deserve clear pathways to decent work. Peace and security. Our expanded understanding of security, as set out in the Bold Declaration, makes economic security foundational. Unemployment threatens peace. Decent work delivers peace. Resource and economic development. Our blue and green economies offer vast potential, but only if we develop the skills and jobs that sustainable resource management demands. Climate change and disasters. Workforce resilience means preparing for new jobs in emerging climate-driven industries. Ocean and environment. Sustainable ocean stewardship is labor-intensive. Every reef restored, fishery managed, or piece of ocean plastic removed is both an environmental and employment opportunity. Technology and connectivity. Digital skills are no longer optional. They are as fundamental to employment today as literacy was in the past. These are not abstract policy areas, they are the very foundations of our people's livelihoods. Your conference objective, from vision to action. Over the next 4 days, you aim to deliver real outcomes. First, the launch of Regional PS Employment Talanoa Forum. This is not just another discussion platform, it is a commitment mechanism for sharing solutions, ensuring transparency, and measuring real progress beyond the conference. It will meet regularly, report openly, and hold all of us accountable. Second, you will establish a technical working group with clear mandate and dedicated resources. This group will turn your discussions into actionable plans, and our commitments into policies, and our regional cooperation into tangible national outcomes. Third, you will develop concrete policy recommendations for immediate government implementation. The challenges we face demand urgent responses. We cannot afford endless consultations while our people remain unemployed or underemployed. Fourth, you will create accountability framework with clear timelines, resources, and responsibilities. Without accountability, regional cooperation is mere conversation. We need to seek for fundamental transformation, moving from isolated national responses to coordinated regional solutions, from reactive crisis management to proactive opportunity creation. To our Pacific ministers and government officials, the era of working within national borders alone is over. I urge you to commit fully to the regional coordination mechanisms we established. Share best practices, learn openly, and support collective resource mobilization. The success of the forum depends on your leadership. To our employers and private sector partners, you are the engine of job creation and architects of our economic future. Building on 5 decades of ILO partnership, I challenge you to invest not only in profit, but in sustainability and inclusive prosperity that benefits all. To our workers and union representatives, you are the guardians of decent work and champions of adaptation. I call on you to engage constructively in the just transitions demanded by climate and technological change. Your experience in collective bargaining and deep ties to working families are invaluable in shaping integrated solutions. Without strong worker representation, employment policy risks becoming employer convenience or government expediency. The ILO teaches us that lasting solutions require authentic worker participation. We must uphold that lesson. To our development partners, especially the ILO, we welcome your continued support and insist on Pacific leadership. Our 50-year partnership shows that true collaboration blends technical expertise with respect for local leadership and adapts global standards to Pacific realities. Fiji's Ocean of Peace includes you as genuine partners supporting Pacific-led inclusive solutions that respect the dignity and agency of all stakeholders. Climate change poses both a major threat and a unique opportunity to Pacific employment. While traditional industries are being disrupted, new sectors like renewable energy, ecosystem restoration, climate-resilient agriculture, and disaster risk reduction offer pathways for job creation to absorb displaced workers. But this transition requires deliberate action. The ILO's concept of a just transition ensures that the costs of economic transformation do not fall unfairly on the workers and the communities. Here in Fiji, we are leading the way. Our Green Growth Framework identifies concrete job opportunities in renewable energy, sustainable tourism, and climate-smart agriculture. Our National Adaptation Plan integrates workforce development as a core element. But regional cooperation is essential. We must share green skills, training regionally, coordinate response to climate migration and displacement, and collectively advocate for climate finance that prioritizes decent work. The Pacific Resilience Facility and our 2050 strategy provide one model for coordination, but we also need employment-specific mechanisms, and that is exactly what we are building here today. The Pacific holds unique advantage in the digital economy. Our youth are digital natives. Our close-knit communities adapt very quickly, and our cultural values of cooperation and consensus naturally align with collaborative digital platforms. However, technological progress must amplify Pacific values, not replace them. Digital education should integrate traditional knowledge. E-commerce must showcase Pacific arts and crafts. Remote work should keep our youth connected to their communities. This is not technology for technology's sake, it is technology for empowerment. One of our most complex challenges is ensuring regional labor mobility benefits all our nations, both those sending and those receiving workers. Pacific workers contribute enormously across the region and beyond, but mobility must strengthen, not weaken, home communities. This means that skills development must flow both ways, workers returning home with new expertise and skills that enrich their communities. Remittance should support not only families, but also broader community development. Circular migration should complement permanent local employment, not replace it. Workers abroad must enjoy equal rights and protections, ensuring their dignity and security. The Talanoa Forum will coordinate these efforts, sharing best practices and addressing challenges together. Ladies and gentlemen, the centerpiece of this conference is the launch of the Regional PS Employment Talanoa Forum. And you know that Talanoa is a uniquely Pacific process of inclusive, participatory, and transparent dialogue that seeks consensus while respecting diverse views. Fiji pioneered the Talanoa dialogue in climate negotiations as a constructive alternative to adversarial talks, an approach the ILO immediately embraced as aligned with the tripartite principles. Now we bring the same spirit to employment cooperation, strengthened by 5 decades of ILO-facilitated dialogue among governments, employers, and workers. The Talanoa Forum will meet regularly with a dedicated secretariat, resources, and mandates. Most importantly, it will uphold the tripartite structure proven essential for sustainable labor market development. This forum goes beyond government officials. In line with ILO principles, it ensures participation, equal participation from all stakeholders, but always within the trusted tripartite forum, tripartite framework. Let us commit today to turning our dialogue into real, tangible outcomes that make a difference for our people. As we address employment challenges in the Pacific, we must also embrace our role in shaping global solutions. The Pacific has consistently punched above its weight on the world stage. In employment cooperation, we can lead by example, fostering regional labor mobility that benefits all, advancing just transition policies that protect workers through economic change, and promoting sustainable development that creates jobs while safeguarding our environment. My fellow Pacific family, as I conclude, I return to the spirit of Vuvale, of family, that defines our bond. Families face challenges together, share opportunities fairly, protect their most vulnerable, invest in their children's future, and resolve disputes through dialogue, not division. This is how we must approach employment cooperation. Employment challenges are no different. Youth unemployment in one nation affects us all. Skills shortages in another calls for shared solutions. Climate change threatens traditional livelihoods across our region. We must adapt together. The Talanoa Forum embodies these Pacific family values in employment policy affirming that our prosperity is interconnected, our security shared, and our future united. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share the Pacific we are building together. A Pacific where quality education skills are accessible to all, and where climate adaptation creates jobs rather than destroy them. A Pacific where entrepreneurs connect to markets across the region, where small island businesses compete globally through digital platforms, where traditional knowledge stands alongside modern innovation. A Pacific where workers moving between our nations have full protection of their rights, where remittances support community development and migration strengthens home communities. A Pacific where decent work is the foundation of human security, where employment policy is peace policy, and where prosperity is shared fairly among all our peoples. This is not a distant dream. It is within our reach, but it demands the sustained cooperation and commitment we show here today. In conclusion, I say a new chapter in Pacific cooperation is opening. Your Excellencies, 50 years ago, when the ILO opened its office in Suva, our nations in the Pacific were young, our economies were simple, and our challenges manageable. The ILO came not just as a development agency, but as a partner, embracing tripartite values that resonate deeply with our Pacific traditions of inclusive governance. Today we face more complex challenges, but with far greater capabilities built through decades of collaboration. We are united by 50 years of tripartite cooperation, bringing governments, employers, and workers together to craft solutions for all. The inaugural Pacific Regional Tripartite Conference opens a new chapter in regional cooperation rooted in our shared history and focused on extending decent work into climate resilience, peace, and prosperity. Let us move forward together. The Blue Pacific continent our children inherit must be more prosperous, more peaceful, and sustainable than the one we received. Again, let me take this opportunity to say to you all and to you, our ILO partners, thank you for your participation, thank you for your cooperation, thank you for your leadership. It's my honor now to declare the 2025 Pacific Regional Tripartite Conference officially open. And I do not know what you'll be talking about for the rest, as I've covered everything. Is it going? Not yet. Oh, okay. We'll do that later. I take this away.
Let's give the Honorable Prime Minister a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We thank the Honorable Prime Minister for those inspiring remarks and for officially opening our conference. Yes, he's spoken about everything, so we will expect only the rest of the speeches to be just about a minute long. I'm just joking. Your vision, Honorable Prime Minister, for shaping global solutions while staying true to our Pacific values will guide our discussions over the next coming days. Ladies and gentlemen, with our conference now officially opened, please join me in welcoming the award-winning Prima Navia for a Meke performance that celebrates the cultural heritage uniting us across the Pacific. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Pacifica, Uzana uza ozonga, Uzana uza ozonga, Lave aloge degedenga, Tomai ozoba amadanga.
What a beautiful and moving performance, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them another big round of applause. It's a performance that truly captures the spirit and the soul of our connection, not only as Fijians, but as people of the Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, what an inspiring start to our conference this morning. It is with great pleasure now that I introduce someone who has been instrumental in bringing us together this very location for the next 4 days, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Agni Deo Singh, Minister for Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations, to deliver his remarks. A round of applause.
The Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Sitiveni Rabuka, the Regional Director, ILO, Ms. Osaka. I don't want to dare take your full name, madam. The ministers of the Pacific Islands that are present here today, permanent secretaries, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives from workers and employers organizations, and I recognize the presence of two who I work with on a daily basis almost, Mr. Anthony from the Fiji Trades Union Congress, and Mr. Nasi, the President of Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation. members of the diplomatic corps, Bulavinaka, and a warm welcome to you all once again. Let me join the previous speakers in paying my respect to the owners, the traditional custodians of the land that we stand on this morning, past, present, and emerging. Ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, allow me to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the Honorable Prime Minister for his profound leadership and the inspiring and all-encompassing keynote address. His words this morning set the tone for our conference, reminding us of both the urgency and the opportunity before us. His vision continues to guide our efforts to create a more sustainable future on decent work, resilience, and shared prosperity for the Pacific. So if I was permitted, I would just say that I endorse everything that you've said this morning, and I would take my seat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's both an honor and a privilege on behalf of the government and the people of Fiji to deliver the opening remarks for this Pacific Regional Tripartite Employment Conference 2025 here in Nadi. This gathering is also historic as it allows us to address the pressing employment and labor challenges of our time, while commemorating 50 years of the International Labour Organization's partnership with the Pacific member states. Since its establishment in the region, the ILO has worked tirelessly with governments, workers, and employers to advance the principles of decent work, social justice, and inclusive economic growth. Over the past 5 decades, the ILO has contributed significantly to building strong labor institutions, improving labor market governance, and strengthening the capacity of governments and social partners across the Pacific. Its initiatives have included promoting workplace rights, supporting skills development programs, assisting with labor mobility frameworks, and advancing social protection and measures for the vulnerable communities. These efforts have empowered Pacific Islanders to participate fully in economic development while ensuring that the fundamental labor rights are upheld. The theme of this year's conference, Designing for Disruption, Decent Work, Climate Change, and Security, is both timely and relevant. Our region is at the forefront of multiple global challenges, from the increasing impacts of climate change to technological disruptions and evolving labor markets. These challenges, though complex, present opportunities for innovation. They require us to rethink traditional approaches and design strategies that ensure sustainable and inclusive development, strengthen resilience, and protect the rights and dignity of every worker. The thematic areas of this regional forum also align with Fiji's commitment to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 9 on industry innovation and infrastructure, SDG 4 on quality education, and which links with the development of skills and employability, SDG 13 on climate change, and action. And I, at this juncture, recognize the presence of my cabinet colleague, Honorable Minister for Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Mulitavo. Thank you for coming along. Ladies and gentlemen, SDG 16 is on peace, justice, and strong institutions. Again, a significant importance is laid on this SDG. The government's vision of decent work and sustainable employment for all, which is derived from SDG 8, is closely aligned with the theme to promote decent work and fair opportunities, ensure safe and healthy workplaces, enhance productivity, and continue to encourage good faith employment relations, as well as directly contribute to the overarching goal of achieving economic stability, security, and sustainability for Fiji. Decent work provides citizens with stable, well-paid jobs that improve their living standards and economic security, fostering an economically stable society. Sustainable employment practices, such as investing in skills development and promoting productivity, help build a resilient workforce capable of adapting to economic shocks and climate change impacts, enhancing Fiji's overall security. Ensuring access to decent work and sustainable livelihoods aligns to build a truly inclusive and sustainable Fiji, where economic prosperity is shared equitably. Colleagues, allow me to briefly reflect on Fiji's own journey. Under Fiji's constitution, every worker is guaranteed the right to fair employment practices such as wages, equal opportunities, and the right to form and join trade unions. The Constitution further protects against forced labor, child labor, and discrimination, ensuring that dignity and justice remain at the heart of our labor framework. Complementing this, the Fiji's National Development Plan provides a clear roadmap for sustainable and inclusive growth. Central to this plan is the creation of decent jobs, particularly for our youth and women, the promotion of skills development and innovation, and the strengthening of social protection systems to ensure that no one is left behind. These national commitments align closely with the priorities of this conference and the broader Pacific vision. This conference has several critical objectives. First, it seeks to foster regional collaboration, strengthen tripartite dialogue among governments, employers, and workers' representatives. Second, it aims to identify practical and sustainable strategies for enhancing labor mobility, creating decent work opportunities, and ensuring workplace safety in a rapidly changing work environment. Third, it intends to build climate and economic resilience, ensuring that Pacific communities can adapt and thrive amid the disruptions that affect both employment and livelihoods. Finally, this forum provides an invaluable opportunity for knowledge sharing, peer learning, and partnership building among our Pacific neighbors. The significance of this conference is further strengthened by its tripartite nature. This reminds us of the Fijian concept of Solesolevaki, which is a means of reciprocity, and it reflects the process of working together, mutuality, and give and take. Also, it includes the Vuvale concept, as practiced in our Pacific setting. In the same way, sustainable solutions require the combined effort of government, employers, and workers. It is through dialogue, consensus, and shared responsibility that we can develop policies and initiatives that are both inclusive and effective. The Pacific Ocean connects us despite the distances between our islands. And this conference further strengthens these connections through a shared commitment to decent work, social protection, and economic opportunity. Over the next 4 days, I encourage all delegates to engage actively, share your experiences, and build partnerships that will ensure that our region continues to advance in line with international labor standards. On behalf of the government and the people of Fiji, I extend our deepest appreciation to the ILO and all our partners for making this conference possible. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to organize a conference of this magnitude. The achievements of the past 50 years demonstrate the values of sustained cooperation and commitment. And I'm confident that the outcomes of this conference will guide our work towards a more resilient, fair, and prosperous Pacific. Vinaka Wakalevu, thank you, and I wish you all a productive and successful conference.
Thank you again, Honourable Minister Agni Deo Singh. Another round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. We thank him for those insightful opening remarks. We're grateful for your ministry's leadership in hosting this landmark conference. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with the opening remarks, it's now my pleasure to introduce a key voice in our tripartite dialogue. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Vinay Nasi, President, Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation.
The Prime Minister of Fiji, Honourable Sitiveni Rabuka, the Minister for Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations, Honourable Agni Deo Singh, Honourable Ministers from Fiji and the Pacific, Permanent Secretaries, the UN Resident Coordinator, Mr. Wagner, the ILO Regional Director, Ms. Osaka, the ILO Director for Pacific Islands Country, Mr. Wendera, Workers Rep, Mr. Anthony, Pacific Employer Bodies, ladies and gentlemen. Bula Vinaka. On behalf of employers in Fiji, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our tripartite partners to this important regional conference supported by the ILO and the Fiji government. Our last tripartite meeting was in Suva 2 years ago. We're in Nadi today, more welcoming as it provides better weather, a pleasant and relaxing meeting point. I'm pleased to see employer reps from all our ILO member countries, including our rep from the regional body, PIPSO, present here today. Our presence here today is a testimony of our shared values and recognition of ILO's contribution to the world of work in the Pacific. Since 1975, the ILO has grown and served our individual Pacific countries and the region through its core mandate, decent work and social justice for all. This 50-year Golden Jubilee is a celebration of our collective quest for decent work, for better lives, for stronger economies, and an inclusive, sustainable, and prosperous Pacific. As ILO has carved its importance globally for more than over 100 years, the ILO will continue to have an important role to play here in the Pacific in the next 50 years. A lot of us may not be present in the next 50 years, but like those of our colleagues that were here before us, we build a legacy for those that will come after us. On this note, I think it is only proper that we remember the constituents and ILO staff present and those that have passed on Their contributions are invaluable. Thank you for your service. The deliberations and agreements we forge at this conference will build on to what will become of our people, our countries, our Pacific in the next 50 years. The Employers Group is committed to partnering with ILO and engaging through genuine tripartism and social dialogue with our government and workers' reps. On behalf of the employers' reps, I congratulate the ILO for the 50 years in the Pacific, and I welcome our tripartite partners to our shores, and I wish everyone well for the conference. Vinaka Vakalevu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasi, for the important insights from the employer's perspective. We continue with the tripartite opening address, and it is my honor to introduce a very critical voice for us here this morning, the voice of the workers. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Felix Anthony.
The Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji, Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, the Regional Director, ILO, for the Asia and Pacific, Mr. Saka, the UN Resident Coordinator, Mr. Dirk Wagner, the ILO Director, Office of the Pacific Island Countries, Mr. Martin Wandera, the tripartite delegates from the region, government ministers, workers delegates, employers representatives, the employer representative for FSEF, Mr. Nasi, distinguished guests and colleagues. Let me first accord to you a warm welcome to Fiji for the celebrations of the 50th year of existence of ILO in the Pacific. It is indeed my honor to be part of this remarkable part of ILO's history. We are proud that Fiji is the host for this milestone achievement, and I'm confident that our neighbors from the Pacific are pleased to join us today here in Nadi. The ILO structure of tripartism is very unique, which is not only central to its existence, but resonates with its identity and effectiveness. This is the very foundation that aims to strengthen constructive dialogue among social partners, the workers, the employers, and governments, to achieve decent work for all. We congratulate the Fijian government for embracing tripartism and activating the Employment Relations Advisory Board and the Industry Wages Councils. Fiji became a member of the ILO in 1974, and the office for the region opened immediately after. In these 50 years, Fiji as a country has ratified 8 core conventions and several other technical conventions, and also has plans to ratify the OSH Convention, which are now added to the list of core conventions. This is indeed a remarkable progress. Our association with ILO dates back to many years of close collaboration on various technical assistance, such as the elimination of child labor, occupational safety at work, development policies, informal economy, violence and harassment, youth and gender. In Fiji, through the assistance and guidance of the ILO, under the leadership of various directors and regional directors, a lot has been achieved, and some milestones are to be achieved soon. A very first wholesome labor law review has finally progressed and presented in Parliament, and we await the draft bill to be passed in Parliament in the coming month. This review has long been overdue and has taken aboard the recommendations of the Committee of Experts of the ILO. The workers of this country envisage this review to be a lifeline and for it to bring some relief in how we promote and safeguard workers' rights in this country. This is after 16 years of serious challenges that workers and unions faced during the reign of the previous government. This has to go on record as the most difficult period for workers in Fiji. In 2013, we utilized the ILO supervisory mechanisms to report on violations of Conventions 87 on freedom of association and the right to organize. And through this, Fiji was put on notice for breach of workers' and trade union rights. This role of ILO is crucial in strengthening industrial peace in our region and the world over. The trade union movement continues to strive to strengthen the supervisory mechanism of the ILO as we see the weakening and suppression of democratic norms in the Asia-Pacific region and indeed around the world. We cannot talk of decent work, rights and freedoms without true democracy. Colleagues, on this occasion, I want to reiterate that decent work remains our priority, and our Employment Relations Amendment Bill in Parliament goes a long way to address this deficit. Decent work can no longer be just a slogan. Here, I wish to endorse the Prime Minister's call for action and not just stop at discussions. We continue to campaign with governments on national minimum wage. Next year, the FTUC will launch its campaign on a living wage for Fiji, and we look forward to the conclusions of discussions within the 10 sectoral wages councils that this government has revitalized. Emerging issues like AI and issues surrounding climate change and just transition have become part of the discussions, and we need to ensure that rights of workers are embedded in the policies and decisions that are to be made. The interests of women, children, and vulnerable groups or minorities must be taken into account. We must strengthen and develop social security mechanisms. The recent pandemic exposed not only the lack of social security mechanisms, but in some cases, a total absence of it in the region as a whole, and of course, in particular for workers. The tripartite partners must work together to ensure this deficit is addressed. It is our collective vision of achieving decent work, alleviating poverty, meeting the targets of social development goals, and to meet the thriving labor market that is dynamic, inclusive, and resilient. Colleagues, in the Pacific region, we are now faced with more challenges due to labor migration and skill shortages. Strengthening trade unions and an enabling environment for trade unions to operate without fear is extremely important. We continue to call upon governments to ensure that workers' rights and implementation of core labor standards remain high on the agenda. If workers earn adequately, they spend, businesses thrive. The economy progresses. In concluding, I commend the ILO for remaining our pillar of strength for the issues we have as trade unions in the region. The last 50 years has been remarkable, but not without challenges. And we aspire to reach more milestones in the years to come, of course, with your support. I pay homage to the former directors who served in our region and have passed on, and those that are still around, our appreciation and greetings for your dedicated service to our region. I also thank our friend Martin Wandera and his team for their tireless efforts in addressing the challenges faced by the region, and who has also led the planning of this event together with the Ministry of Employment. May I wish you all a fruitful deliberation in the next few days of this conference, and pass to you the solidarity greetings from the Fiji Trades Union Congress. Once again, a warm welcome to our country. Pinaka Vakalevu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony, for those insightful remarks on the importance of regional cooperation in addressing our shared employment challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great pleasure to invite to the podium the United Nations Resident Coordinator for the Pacific. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to His Excellency Dirk Wagner.
Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, Prime Minister of Fiji, Ms. Nakamura Osaka, ILO Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific, Honorable Angie Deo Singh, Minister for Employment, Productivity, Workplace Relations, Honorable Ministers and senior officials from the Pacific, my good colleague Martin Vandera, the ILO Pacific Director, Mr. Vinay Narse, Employers Representative and FSEF President, Mr. Felix Anthony, Workers Representative, Excellencies, colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps, workers, employers, development partners, colleagues, Pula Vinaka, Dhanyawad, and warm Pacific greetings. It is both an honor and a privilege on behalf of the United Nations family to join you in marking 50 years of the International Labour Organization's presence here in the Pacific. Let me begin by congratulating ILO, its leadership and staff, past and present, and its tripartite partners on reaching this important milestone. And allow me to thank the government of Fiji for its leadership and for hosting the ILO's Pacific office in Suva. This office has become not only a hub for technical expertise, but also a symbol of international solidarity with the Pacific's workers and employers. 50 years of ILO in the Pacific countries is shaping labor laws that reflect international standards while respecting Pacific traditions. It has helped governments to design social protection systems that offer a safety net in times of hardship. It has strengthened TVET institutions, promoted apprenticeships, and prepared young people with the skills they need for today's and tomorrow's labor markets. ILO's work has never been abstract. It has touched everyday lives of ordinary people. The fisher in Tuvalu, the hospitality worker in Fiji, the teacher in Samoa, the construction worker in Solomon Islands, and the seasonal worker in Australia and New Zealand. Behind each policy and each program stands a human face, a family, a story of resilience and of aspiration. Today, as the Pacific faces the realities of climate change, the climate crisis, I must say, human mobility and new economic disruptions, decent work remains the anchor that keeps communities steady while opening new opportunities for the next generation. We have seen this after cyclones and tsunamis, where employment-intensive recovery efforts have not only rebuilt homes and infrastructure, but also restored livelihoods and dignity. We see it in labor mobility programs, where well-managed migration can provide income security for families while contributing skills and dynamism to host communities abroad. And we see it in the growing recognition that climate change, security, economic growth, and social justice are inseparable. Jobs in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and the blue economy are not just economic opportunities. They are lifelines for a region on the front line of climate change. The United Nations family stands ready alongside governments and the people of the Pacific in advancing Pacific-led solutions that strengthens resilience, inclusion, and opportunity. The ILO has been a leader in joint UN initiatives, from the SDG acceleration programs in Micronesia and the South Pacific to youth employment and digital skills initiatives, to the work on social protection floors. These efforts demonstrate that what the UN can achieve when it acts as one, delivering results that no single agency could achieve alone with our partners. As we reflect on 50 years of achievement, we must also look ahead. The future of work in the Pacific will be shaped by three powerful forces. First, digital transformation. New technologies are reshaping jobs and skills everywhere in the world, and the Pacific is no exception. For the Pacific youth, digital tools can open global opportunities, but only if connectivity, digital literacy, and inclusion are ensured. Second, green and blue jobs. Climate change is both a threat and an opportunity. Transitioning to renewable energies, investing in sustainable fisheries and ecotourism, and building climate-resilient infrastructure will generate jobs that sustain both people and planet. Third, labor mobility and demographic change. Managed well, mobility can be a driver of prosperity, knowledge transfer, and regional solidarity. Managed poorly, it risks brain drain, exploitation, and social stress. ILO's tripartite approach, bringing together governments, workers, and employers, will be indispensable in navigating these transitions. And it must be coupled with a strong focus on gender equality, youth employment, and inclusion of persons with disabilities, ensuring that no one is left behind in changing the world of work. Excellencies, colleagues, and friends, the ILO's 50th anniversary in the Pacific is a moment to celebrate, but also to renew our resolve. For half a century, the ILO has stood with the Pacific peoples in advancing decent work and social justice. For the next 50 years, let us move forward together, governments, workers, employees, communities, and the United Nations system with the same determination, the same solidarity, and the same belief in the dignity of work. Binaka Wakalevu, Dhanyawad, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for those compelling insights on the UN's commitment to supporting decent work and sustainable development across the Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, as we've heard, today marks not just the beginning of our conference, but also the commemoration of a remarkable milestone, 50 years of the International Labour Organization's presence and partnership with the Pacific region. To share with us the story of this extraordinary journey, I'm honored to welcome Kaori Nakamura Osaka, Regional Director of the International Labour Organization for Asia and the Pacific.
Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji, Ministers, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, Your Excellencies, Mr. Dirk Wagner, UN Resident Coordinator, Ms. Desna Solofa, Deputy Secretary General for the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat, senior government officials, leaders of workers and employers' organizations, UN colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Nisabla Vinaka, and Pacific warm greetings to you all. Today, we gather not simply to celebrate an anniversary, but to honor a remarkable journey, the journey of the International Labour Organization and its enduring partnership with the peoples of the Pacific. For 50 years, governments, workers, and employers' organizations have worked hand in hand with the ILO through social dialogue and tripartism to advance decent work and social justice in our region. This enduring partnership has been built on trust, shared values, and a commitment to dignity for all workers, and is the reason we are here today. Allow me to express my deep appreciation to the government of Fiji for graciously hosting the ILO office in Suva since 1975. From this base, Fiji has enabled the ILO to serve the wider Pacific family, and for that remain truly grateful. It is also a privilege for me to undertake this mission as my first official mission in the Asia and the Pacific region since I was appointed as Assistant Director General and Regional Director for this region of great possibilities this January. I am here representing the Director General of the ILO, Mr. Gilbert Humbo, who had hoped to join this important occasion, but was unable to do so due to prior commitments. It is therefore an honor for me to attend today on his behalf. The Director General regards the Pacific sub-region as a vital part of the ILO's global constituency. He believes that through collective action, Pacific member states can significantly enhance the organization's work and contribute meaningfully to advancing decent work and social justice across the region. Over these 5 decades, the ILO has responded to the needs and aspirations of Pacific peoples. Our journey reflects the priorities of our tripartite partners and is grounded in the ILO's normative framework of international labor standards. Allow me to touch upon some of our work and achievement over these 5 decades. As the tourism sector began to flourish in the 1970s in the Pacific, the ILO responded by supporting vocational training initiatives for hotel and hospitality workers. These early efforts laid the foundation for aligning skills development with labor market needs and contributed to the growth of a professional workforce in the region. The ILO also introduced trade testing and apprenticeship schemes that have since evolved into broader technical and vocational education and training reforms. These programs continue to play a vital role in preparing young people for meaningful participation in the labor market. The ILO has supported Pacific Island countries in strengthening maternity protection, promoting fair working hours, and improving work-life balance. Our technical assistance has also helped advance occupational safety and health standards, ensuring safer workplaces for all. Across the region, the ILO has contributed to the modernization of labor laws, the implementation of minimum wage policies, and the expansion of social protection systems. Recognizing the central role of labor mobility in Pacific economies, we have worked to promote fair recruitment practices and safeguard the rights of seasonal workers and seafarers, groups that are essential to the region's economic resilience. These achievements reflect the ILO's enduring commitment to supporting Pacific Island countries in building inclusive, sustainable, and rights-based labor systems that honor the dignity of every worker. The ILO has also consistently promoted women's participation in non-traditional trades and supported entrepreneurship among women and youth. Our employment-intensive investment program has rehabilitated or maintained hundreds of kilometers of roads and waterways, restored rural airstrips, and connected more than 62,000 people to new opportunities in our member country. Each of these interventions has been shaped by the voices of our constituents. Each is a testament to what can be achieved when governments, workers, and employers come together to design and deliver solutions through social dialogue. Honorable Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, anniversaries such as this are not about nostalgia, they are about renewal. They remind us that the ILO, born in 1919 and becoming part of the United Nations in 1946, carries a timeless mandate to promote social justice, protect dignity, advance decent work for all. Looking back allows us to appreciate the distance we have traveled, but looking forward challenges us to stay relevant, to respond to the urgent issues of our time: climate change, youth employment, social dialogue, informality, digitalization, skills development, gender inequality, and the governance of labor mobility. At the 53rd Pacific Islands Forum Leaders Meeting held in Tonga last year, Pacific leaders reaffirmed the urgency of advancing resilience, climate action, labor mobility, and the empowerment of people. These priorities are at the heart of the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, a vision that the ILO fully supports. As the ILO commemorates 50 years of engagement in the Pacific, we renew our commitment to working alongside governments, workers, and employers to ensure that no island and no worker is left behind. Through our continued collaboration, we aim to contribute meaningfully to the region's long-term development aspirations and uphold the values of social justice and inclusive growth. The ILO stands ready to support Pacific Island countries in realizing this vision, recognizing that sustainable progress must be rooted not only in sound policy and inclusive growth, but also in the rich cultural heritage that defines the Pacific. As we move forward, we must ensure that our efforts reflect and respect the traditions, voices, and aspirations of Pacific peoples. On behalf of the International Labour Organization, I thank you for walking this journey with us. We are here to serve you. Let us celebrate our past achievement with pride, and let us face the future with determination, knowing that decent work and social justice remain the surest foundation for peace and prosperity in the Pacific. Vinaka Vakalevu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Regional Director, for your inspiring remarks. Please, let's give another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Madam, your address beautifully reminded us that we gather today not simply to celebrate an anniversary, but to honor a remarkable 50-year journey of partnership built on trust, shared values, and an unwavering commitment to dignity for all workers. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to extend a small token of our appreciation to the Honorable Prime Minister as well as the Madam Regional Director, ILO. And I'd like to invite the Honourable Minister Agni Deo Singh, sir, if you can present the gift to the Honourable Prime Minister, and the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Nemani, to present the gift to the Regional Director, ILO. A small token of our gratitude and our appreciation for your presence today, Honourable Prime Minister, for officiating, and also to the ILO Regional Director for being here to address us. A big round of applause for the Honourable Prime Minister. Also, Madam Director, we would like to present a gift on behalf of the Ministry and all those who are present in gratitude for all the work and support of the ILO in the Pacific. Binaka Bakalevo, a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to a truly historic moment, the official launch of the ILO 50 years in the Pacific, 1974 to 2025. We have heard how the ILO has responded to our evolving needs, from supporting tourism growth in the 1970s to modernizing labor laws and safeguarding our seasonal workers and seafarers. Most importantly, the commitment that no island and no worker will be left behind resonates deeply with all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to launch represents 5 decades of shared achievements and an enduring partnership that has transformed lives across our Pacific region. The Honourable Prime Minister, sir, as we celebrate this golden milestone, we invite you to officially launch this commemoration of 50 years of partnership and shared commitment to the dignity of all Pacific workers. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, you did it, sir. It's there. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yes, that's the video.
Over 5 decades, programs that strengthen advancing workers' rights, gender equality, social protection, and youth employment. At the heart of progress is partnership. Governments, workers, and employers shaping solutions together. Today, 11 Pacific nations are members of the ILO, part of a network that spans 22 Pacific countries and territories. The ILO Pacific supports decent work, fair migration, climate resilience, and digital skills, preparing the region for the future of work. This is a story of resilience, partnership, and shared hope for generations to come. ILO Pacific, over 50 years of engagement in the Pacific.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Also, other than the launch, which is the video, we like to symbolize this celebration with the anniversary cake, and we invite the colleagues responsible to please bring the cake forward for the cake cutting ceremony, and we have a final piece of entertainment that will accompany that, and we'll close our formalities for our program this morning. And we'll also have, ladies and gentlemen, our group photographs, which I explained earlier, that will be conducted right in this very room. So we'll bring the cake forward now, please, right to the stage. We have, I'm going to also invite a few of our guests of honor who are present here to join the Honourable Prime Minister and the Regional Director, ILO. I ask the Honourable Minister, please, and also our workers rep and our employers rep to join them up on stage. Also the employers rep PIPSO, Mr. Polatini, and also PIC2 representative, Mr. Turangambeletti, to join us on stage for the cake cutting ceremony, please. We thank our colleagues here from the Crowne Plaza for bringing the cake, our anniversary cake. Not to worry, this will be part of the refreshments provided at morning tea, ladies and gentlemen. So we ask those who will be cutting, please just cut and don't eat the cake yet. We'll share it with everyone. Thank you. We'll bring the cake up, and can I ask the guests, please, if they can join us on stage for the cake cutting ceremony. We'll ask our colleagues, our honored guests, we'll have some standing on this side, please, and some representatives standing next to the regional director as well. We invite our colleagues from Prima Navia to please stand by. As soon as the cake is cut, we would love to hear from you. Please come forward. Prima Navia, please come forward. Yes, thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister. Everyone, please hold your hands forward. In collaboration and commemoration, ILO 50th anniversary, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.
Kadiri lolomani ua na veise ni kau na veise ni bua ai divini nongu vanua au kito au lasa ena vanua domoni koya sai viti lomani
Prima Navia, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed all this entertainment you've seen so far from them, well, stay tuned because this evening it's going to be very, very explosive when they take on the stage. We thank them for the national anthem and for singing all these great numbers and the Meke performance. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to close our official opening ceremony with a vote of thanks. To extend the acknowledgements, I invite the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Nemani, to move the acknowledgements. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam MC. I have the pleasant task to be standing here before you to provide a vote of thanks. The Prime Minister, Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, Madam Osaka, Honorable Ministers, specific ministers, colleagues, senior officials of government, diplomatic corps, it is indeed my honor to move a vote of thanks and say thank you all so much for your presence here this morning. And Honorable Prime Minister, gracing this occasion has been so wonderful that we see the shared commitment that we all have in moving our Pacific nations forward together. May I also take this time to thank you in advance to the speakers that's going to participate in the next couple of days as we deliberate on very important priorities that is dear to our heart as Pacific neighbors and Pacific family. We thank you again for your time, for listening, and thank you for being here. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we close the official ceremony. But of course, as I mentioned during housekeeping, we have our group photographs. So at this time, please bear with us. All the photographs will be taken in this very room. We'd like to give an opportunity for our photographers and our partners from the media.